So over the years, I have built many garages and have always been selfishly using it for myself with all of my tools and equipment. And I've learned that you should really make things very nice and multifunctional. So in this garage, I built a second floor for my studio primarily, but I wanted to add a feature for a living space as well. So in the future, I could turn this into an Airbnb. I have a kitchenette here that I designed and built, or my wife designed and I put together. But I wanted to go over some of the features that I think are important to have in a kitchenette, but also in its entire living space. This kitchenette is only about 6 foot wide, entails 2 cabinets, a 30-inch sink base for storage. I usually recommend leaving that all open so you can connect the plumbing. And this is also where we house our electrical supply for under shelving lighting. So having accessibility to all your plumbing and to be able to have storage capacity here really makes a lot of sense. Getting a standard 30-inch really helps out with that. We got the mini fridge, obviously, to stock all of your items, drinks and whatnot. This is really a sought out thing to have as well. And then just a regular 30-inch base that also has storage and soft close cabinet drawers. So pretty basic kitchen type of design. But what I did is that I used some extra tile that I had left over from a project I did up here, and we used a Schluter edging. I just kind of wanted to do something a little bit different for this countertop and also use unwanted tile that was really gorgeous tile. We got this from the tile club. It's called the Emporio green onyx tile. Absolutely stunning. This is actually porcelain tile, really high gloss. It mimics a stone. It's really, really beautiful stuff. And then we also went with the Tile Club's terracotta tile on the back, and we used Mapei grout for all of that. So one other feature, in this type of space with this gable roof line here, it's really hard to put cabinetry in this particular situation. You could get a 30-inch cabinet, but it's going to look kind of goofy. Just because of the angle of the ceiling. So we just went with some open shelving, and honestly that's really all we needed for this space. It's just for some decorations in your mugs and use for that. We also went with a smaller sink just to give us more counter space. This is a Kraus sink. This is basically a composite stone look-alike material. Also have the sink faucet, bar stool faucet. This is made from Kraus as well. But having something a little bit smaller and having a deep depth allows you to still clean dishes and do things in here, but also doesn't take up all the room like a normal kitchen sink. So a lot of great features here, but one I really love is just having this under cabinet lighting that gives an elegant look. Having the hidden bracket system for the shelving really makes it look nice as well.
All right, so let's get to it. Let's get into the installation of this entire process of this kitchenette. Now, this is a long form video going through the entire process, so be sure to use the timestamps down below to fast forward to the sections that you're mostly interested in. But I'm really hoping that this video helps you out and gives you some tips and ideas on how to go about doing this. And hey, check out my course. I actually have a course on a home office bathroom course that I put in here, and it basically entails all the details of this kitchenette along with a lot of details with the framing and adding even all the plumbing to this kitchenette as well. I put a lot of effort into this this course and the following courses that are going to be building out different bathrooms within this studio process. So check out the course. I think it'll really help you out. But yeah, enjoy, and thanks so much for watching.
Okay, so we're gonna put some waterproofing on top. We just need some 1/2-inch board of some sort. So this is one of my favorite boards, the Hydro Block board. So it's a 1/2 inch thick, waterproof all the way through. You know, for a countertop, you know, I don't know if it's 100% necessary to be waterproof. You know, these tiles are gonna be pretty big, but you do need to have at least 1.25 inch thickness for this edging, this Schluter edging that comes up. And in order, you have to make sure that you have enough room for these drawers to slide out. So you're gonna need at least to have 1.25 inch. This is actually gonna hang down a little bit below the actual top of this surface. So you could technically even go 1.5 inches, 2 inches to cover this, but this 3/4 inch plywood plus 1/2 inch Hydro Block board, this is gonna work really good. Okay, so we're gonna use some sealant. We might as well make it 100% waterproof. So we're gonna basically fill in all the seams, and then we have a couple pieces here that we need to fill in. I thought this would be a good Father's Day gift, getting an engraved caulking gun. This is made by Newborn, so this is a sausage gun. And if you're doing a lot of sealants, even adhesives, getting sausage tubes like this is a lot less wasteful, and it gives you a lot more product for the money. So it's definitely worth the investment getting a good caulking gun. This is an 18:1 thrust ratio. That's pretty much what you would want for something like a polyurethane sealant. So yeah, having it engraved is pretty cool. I definitely think that'd be a great gift for someone who's a contractor or DIYer. Seal this whole thing, make it completely waterproof. All right, so the hardest part about this is cutting it and getting a nice clean cut. So I would recommend cutting the 45-degree corner first, but we want to prevent scratching this. So I'm going to put some tape right up against the edge here. And we're going to cut the 45, and then we'll cut the straight section after we get what we need there. So we're going to do an outside corner here. Nice, that's not bad at all. And that will work. All right, so then we just need to measure from here. Maybe I will be able to do this all in one piece. .25 and 5/8. The most important thing is just keeping your pressure on this and letting this blade completely get up to the highest speed and just taking your time. But if you let loose of this at all, like, you have to be very confident with holding this or it'll kick out on you. You're better to have a good grip than not enough. So that looks pretty good. So what we'll do is we're going to put sealant. I think that's really going to be the easiest way. Trying to thin set this and hold this all in place can be very tough. All right, so just because it's so difficult to kind of thin set that and hold such a big channel, and we're going to just put sealant all the way across here to adhere this into place. Might as well just go ahead and put a bead down the front here. so now that we got that all to here, I'll hold it together while we do the tile work. That just adheres better than using thin set in my mind.
How long does it take for it to set up?
About a half an hour, hour. I mean, you know, just as long as it's, yeah, it should be all right. All right, so we're gonna use some new thin set that I've been really curious and wanting to try out for a long time now, but made by Sika. This is a modified thin set. This is called the 450. So, you know, from what I understand, this is pretty much comparable to Ardex products, and I've always been a big fan of Ardex. So anything that you can get an option to compare to that is tremendous. More options, the better. So let's just check this out. We're gonna install these large tile on a countertop with this. So we're only gonna need about a half a bag, I believe. So we only have 2 quarts of water. Okay, yeah, not bad. Definitely has a nice sticky consistency to it, so it looks pretty promising. And since I'm doing a bigger tile, I do want to have a little bit of flow. You don't want this to be too thick or you're going to have a problem adhering the tile properly. So we can afford a little bit of room here. We'll just make it 25. So, because we're going to be putting tile on the back here, so we don't need to make it tight. We don't have to fight ourselves either. So 25 inches. We're going to use our leveling blade. So made by Leveling Tools. So far I'm pretty impressed. This stuff works pretty well. All in all, pretty good. You know, this is all going to be covered by a sink top, but that, you know, I'm really happy with that blade, honestly. You know, this is only like the 3rd piece I've really cut, and that blade broke in really nice and easily. Yeah, it'll work. All right, we'll get the next piece. I truly am impressed with that blade. I mean, I'm really happy with it. That really does a nice job. I mean, granted, this is all going to be covered, but that really cut through really easily. And this is a very dense porcelain. So, I mean, it's not perfect by any means, but that does the job all day long. So, definitely impressed with that leveling blade. For $18, I mean, that's crazy. Look pretty cool. Okay, so I should mention that I had gotten a Schluter edging that is 1/2 inch thick, and this is 3/8 inch thick. So I got a bigger profile so that I can have room for the thin set that will go underneath it here. Now I do have a couple chips here I'm going to go over. Yeah, it kind of takes away that edging there. And then we'll go ahead and apply our thin set. Now you want to work this into the substrate with the flat side of the trowel first. You just make sure that this is even with the edge of the tile, so push out any thin set that you need to. All right, wash.
So here's the tile up close.
Yeah, that shook all right, right?
Just in the store and you're making those marks. Well, if there was like, what?
All right, so it just makes it easier to see everything. And you can cut out the outlets, and then you can just have a nice line that cuts all the way up. So, you know, it takes a little bit of time. This was about, what, half hour, 40 minutes setting this up, but now you can cut it and just set the tile. Okay, so I got everything cut. Our outlets are already cut. I'm ready to set. So now the easy part, actually setting the tile. So like I mentioned, I'm going to use a 3/16 by 3/16 inch square notch trowel, and just wipe down your drywall surface before you go and start applying things just with a damp sponge. Work this into the substrate first. structurally trowel. And the more even you can get the ridge lines, the easier it will be to set. And I would only go maybe a couple rows, something that you can set within 10 minutes. You don't want to get too far ahead of yourself where the stuff will be dry and then you have to scrape it off. So it's nice, you know, it's nice to use ceramic every once in a while because it's so much easier to cut than porcelain. So it's definitely a nice treat.
You're right, you've only been cutting porcelain for the longest time now, with all the projects.
Everything's been porcelain, so once you get back to ceramic, it's like, wow, that's kind of nice. Sometimes things fight you, and it doesn't matter how much towel setting experience you have, some things, I don't know, it just makes it feel like it's your first time or something. This is just really intricate. I do have to give a shout out to tabby spacers. So without these type of spacers, I would have had such a trouble getting this all aligned. There's just so many lines, and if anything goes off a little bit, it just really gets exaggerated. So having those spacers really helped out, and sometimes it just takes a long time. I mean, this is basically taking me the entire day just to do 30 square feet, but hopefully it'll showcase the way I want it to here.
All right, I'm gonna go.
So for this backsplash, for the grout, I'm gonna be using one of my favorite grouts, Mapei FA. And one of the main reasons I like using this is because it has a very fine consistency to it. So it's not very sandy. The aggregate that's in it is very fine. So it's in between like a sanded and a non-sanded grout. It goes down to 1/16 inch grout joints. And I always say that if you have a smoother joint, the easier it is to clean and the less likely you're gonna get stains on it. Secondly, it's a very fast setting grout. So in about 20 minutes, I could start removing the initial washing of this and move on with my project. So it's very streamlined. And then lastly, it's stain resistant. I will be sealing this backsplash as well. But this is just an all-around affordable, easy grout to use. And I think for a backsplash like this, it's gonna be perfect. Pancake consistency to it. So it's something that's really easy to get into the joints. So first step is just take a damp sponge, kind of wipe down your tile. This is gonna help glide over the grout across your joints. I'm just gonna pack all the joints.
So don't worry about how much grout is really on the tile. That'll all come off very easily. It's really about packing all the joints and making sure they're completely full. Okay, just make sure everything's filled. And get that just set up before we wash it. The way you want to test this is just to be able to, it's pretty much kind of dry. You can see how it's all kind of skinned over, but you want to be able to touch this and it's not coming off on your fingers. And the best way to go about this is just to test an area and make sure you can smooth the joint without washing out the joint. And that looks pretty good. So it'll feel fairly dry to the touch. And you just want to take a really well wrung out sponge and just hold the joint. So just smooth these smooth and try not to go over too many times or you're going to possibly wash out the joint. Okay, so that's the initial wash. You have plenty of haze on this, but don't worry about that. You'll clear that off in about an hour. You can really scrub everything off. But your biggest point is just to make sure that all these joints are nice and smooth and everything's filled in. Okay, so an hour later, now you can just remove all the haze with just water. You can just take a microfiber cloth. That'll help prevent some of that haze from coming back. That weird strainer. I don't know if I really like that. Nice.
Yeah, don't lose that. Very good. Oh, I like it. It looks sleek.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. Better like it. Since it's probably one of the more expensive quotes.
Yeah. So if you ever wanted to put a shelf in your kitchen, using a hidden bracket is really one of the awesome ways to go, because it can be really troublesome doing it in any other way, and you don't want something exposed after you did all that nice tile work. So I wanted to show you how to install this floating shelf bracket made by Evlade. I don't know how you pronounce that. Evald? Yeah, that's probably about right. So Evald made this little bracket system, really, really cool. It's really nothing more than a stud with a metal bracket that you actually mount to the wall, but really, awesome. I mean, it's definitely gonna give us some really great support to this. So let's go ahead and install this shelf above our little kitchenette here. My goal is to at least get one of these screw holes to have it going directly into the stud, and then I'll just use the plug anchors for the other ones. If you could actually get real support behind it, it's the best. If you actually added blocking behind here, that would have been the ultimate way to go. But if you get one screw into a stud and then you have the other ones with the plug anchors, you're gonna be good to go. So this is obviously on the other side of the wall. It's really difficult when you already have tile up. We have a wall stud in the middle, but we want to kind of be one on either end. We're basically just using 2 brackets. It's 22 3/4, 67 1/4. Okay, so something like that. Now the height of this, it's really up to you. I think we're gonna go about 26 inches. I just got some blocks here just to help me hold this up while I mark this. Not good height?
That's a perfect height.
Yeah. So what you want to do is just mark where that stud is. And this is where we're going to have that one anchor piece. 2 3/4 was the center there. So this is pretty cool. I ended up creating a little rabbet joint here, a little dado cut here, so that we can have our LED lighting incorporated into here. So definitely check out the links below. I got everything that you need for this, including these brackets. But this is going to be a great feature. It's going to give us some nice soft lighting underneath of there. But along with these brackets, you can buy this separately. This is like a little kit to help you stabilize your drill bit, because obviously if you don't have something to support this, if you're angled in wrong, it's not going to, your shelf isn't going to be straight. So this little guy, pretty simple. This is made for like 1.5 inch material. You have these little spots here. So when you put them on either side of this, it's going to make sure that that hole stays centered. All right, then they also have screw holes. This is all going to be hidden anyway, so that's just going to help me make sure that this stays in place. There we go, perfect. Okay. All right, so I'm going to want to actually make this meet the back wall nicely, so I'm going to have to basically notch this whole, recess that whole thing here, because otherwise that's going to hold the shelf out from the wall a little bit. Yeah, it works. This bit right here is perfect for that. You need a 5/16 inch hole, and getting one on a grinder really makes this nice and easy to drill out these holes. It's not even holding into any of that. Fucking screws for that or what? Doesn't make any fucking sense. I mean, that's not fucking grab that at all. What in the hell? I don't know why they would tell me a 5/16 inch hole if it's not gonna be able to. Yeah, it's not gonna fucking grab it. That's why you want to at least have one stud in there. Dang it. Let's try these. Oh, doesn't want to. Is that well bowed? I guess it is. Well, yeah, there it is.
Oh, there it is.
That's fun.
You gotta plane it a little bit.
I guess, yeah. See if that makes any better. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's better than what it was.
Way better than it was.
Now I can just get wire to connect to this. I'm not gonna even mess around. I'm just gonna cut the drywall out of here.